The first step to analyzing an equation is to read it thoroughly and ultimately to figure out what you have and to find out what you need for the solution. So the second step is acknowledging what you're supposed to find. In this case, you're supposed to find the distance x, and so you separate a table from x and y to separate the vertical axis, which is y, and the x-axis, which is horizontal. And so you lay out all the variables: velocity initial, velocity final, distance, time, and acceleration. Right away we know that time is equal to time. So once we figure out the time in the y-axis, we could figure out the time in the x-axis. So what we do is we draw a picture to find out all the possible given information. In this case, there's an angle of 30 degrees, which Marco kicks a ball at 1,000 meters per second, which is the magnitude. And so to find out the real velocity initial, you must get the cosine of 30, multiply 1,000 by it for the velocity initial in the x-axis. Alright, and you do the same with the velocity initial in the y-axis, but instead of cosine it would be sine, because it is opposite to the angle. Alright, and right here, as I demonstrated, a tip for these type of problems: when an object starts from a certain point and ends at that exact same point vertically, then you automatically know the displacement is 0 meters. Since you know it's 0 meters, that gives you an advantage. It makes the problem easier for you. So right now you know that distance in the vertical axis is 0 meters, time is equal to time, and you know the velocity initials. And once we write down all the givens, we can now find out what equation we are looking for. Also, another tip is that you will always know the acceleration in the y direction, which is negative 9.8 meters per second squared, and in the x-axis you always know the acceleration is 0 meters per second squared in these type of problems. Alright, so with that being said, now we have all these informations, and we are now gonna compact it into an equation to solve for time. Alright, so let's get to it. Alright, now having those equations and all this information given, let's solve for time. Alright, so let's get one of the equations from the 3x5 card. So, Alright, so we now wrote down the equation. We need another tip is that once you know the velocity initial of an equation which has the displacement of y equal to 0, you automatically know the velocity final. The trick is that the velocity final ends up being velocity initial just negatively. So in this case, since the velocity initial is positive, the velocity final is the exact same, just negative. And with that being said, we can easily solve for time just plugging in all this information into the calculator, and you can see all the ideas cancel out, and we are given with a time of, let's see, the time is equal to alright, so the time is equal to a really big number, which is 51,000 seconds. You now easily plug in 51,000 seconds into another 3x5 equation, and that is it. You plug it in, they cancel out, you divide the velocity initial by time, and that gives you your distance. Well, actually you multiply them, my bad. You multiply them, and that gives you your distance. Alright, thank you. Shout out to Mr. Wyman.